So, this week went by surprisingly fast. I mean, it seems like not even yesterday that I took my mother to the airport and she'll be coming back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Meanwhile, today is Friday. I, I just can't believe it. So I guess I should get into my low, my high, my act of kindness. I guess my low was the fact that my day started off kind of very inconvenient because I had to get my tire fixed. But my high is the fact that I did get my tire fixed and everything's all hunky-dory. And actually, because I just got these new tires and they were actually under warranty. So I got the tire for free. Like, hey, okay, that's awesome. And my act of kindness was I did a couple of favors for my grandmother. In fact, full disclosure, I'm going to be getting her Mother's Day flowers today, just so I can, get that done and over with. And I'm also going to find her a card too. I really should get to finding her a card. I will, don't worry. Shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, flowers have been everywhere I've looked, so chances are I'm going to find something that looks halfway decent, right? I mean, it's Mother's Day weekend. And she's my grandma, and of course I'm going to get her flowers for Mother's Day. Why wouldn't I? So, with that out of the way, good morning, and happy Friday, everyone. So, it was actually interesting. I bring up my grandmother and my mom because on Wednesday night, or maybe it was Wednesday afternoon, I forget which. No, it was Wednesday afternoon, I remember now. My mom was calling my dad, and I just happened to be right by him, and so, I got to talk to my mom too, which was great. And maybe it was because her mother, my grandmother on her side, is suffering some mental issues. Pretty sure it might be dementia. But regardless, my mom really was quick to talk about, stuff that's upcoming. Like, for example, Mother's Day weekend is this weekend. We hopefully plan on going out for brunch this weekend, so she was looking forward to that. And then right out of the blue, she asked if I'm looking forward to going to Keuka Lake for the summer. Now, if you've known one thing about me in the entire time I've been making these videos, then you know that I love Keuka Lake. I do. It is the quintessential, home away from home for me. It is the one place where no matter what, I could essentially, close my eyes, and if I thought about it, I'm there. And I really could go on and on. So naturally, my response to my mother was, yeah. But then I thought to myself, because we always close up the cottage around early October. I mean, theoretically, we could probably go a smidge longer. But by that point, the weather is more, cool than warm, because we're getting to that transition of like deep into fall, or autumn as I like to call it. I like autumn. Autumn's a nice word. It's a fancy word. Anyway, it gets cold all the time. Not many people are up because, they're back to their regular lives that they had before they started going to Keuka Lake. More and more people are closing down their cottages for the winter. And yeah, there are some people who winterize their cottages so they could stay all year round if they wanted to. But by that point, especially if you live out in the middle of the lake, you're driving a pretty good distance to the nearest town, be it Hammondsport or Penn or Branchport, depending on what side of the lake you're on. And it just hit me like, we just closed it up. And now we're within a couple of weeks of going back. I'm like, is this real? And it's not like the weather's been consistently what you would call warm either. I mean, we've had a bunch of nice days where, the sun was shining, the sky is blue. Like, outside of the temperature, you would think it'd be a nice day. And there have been a couple days that have been, you can put the coat down and just relax outside for a little bit. Those days have been great, but it hasn't been very consistent yet. And I'm also worried because last year, when I was up for Memorial Day weekend, because that's when we opened up the cottage, I mean, you guys know me. I love Keuka Lake so much that the weather could be absolutely miserable and I'm going to be happy up there. But this was miserable to the level of like, most people would just stay away for that weekend. They really would. Like, it was windy and cold and rainy. Like, I had to turn on the pilot up at our cottage. Yeah, I actually know how to turn on a pilot, which is a useful skill to have. My father showed me how to do it, and theoretically, if I know how to turn on the pilot up at the lake, I can turn on any pilot, which, wow, that sounded wrong. Furnace, I guess. I'll say furnace, even though pilot is the correct term for it. If I know how to turn on a furnace that way, then I can turn on any other heating apparatus type thing that is called a pilot, but I'm not going to call it a pilot because it sounds like something else. Anyway, yeah, I know how to do that. That's a useful skill to have. I mean, we never really, we try not to use it that much because by all accounts, we probably shouldn't, especially when, like, even if it was really cool in the summer more. Because here's the thing, even when we're in the dead of summer and it's like, blistering hot later in the afternoon, it can still be pretty cool in the morning. Like, you would need the furnace on for that a little bit, but eventually it gets so hot that you'd be like, why did I even turn the furnace on to begin with? So, bit of a mixed bag, I guess. But, the option's there. And there are some things about Keuka Lake that even though I love going, I'm not necessarily looking forward to. Just simply because if anyone who owns any cottage, be it Keuka Lake, Seneca Lake, Lamoka, Juanita, Cayuga, Canandaigua, any of those Finger Lakes cottages, then you know that maintaining that property is a lot of work. You gotta sweep off decks and porches. You gotta, if you have a shore, you have to re-rake the, turn the stones so everything looks kind of fresh and new later, as well as remove some of the possible, patches of grass that have shown up on that shore. Because, yeah, that happens. Sometimes I wonder, like, why don't we just let the grass grow? I mean, I honestly hate calling our shore the beach because honestly, when I think of beach, I think of white sand between your toes and, long romantic walks in the sunset with that special someone. But here it's essentially like dirt and gravel and big stones and rocks. Not what you would consider romantic. So I'm like, why don't we let the grass grow? At least it would look nice. I mean, honestly, the reason why is because we've already been, well, one of the reasons why is because we've had that tradition of like turning the stones as often as we do. So, why stop there? And second of all, even if we did just simply let the grass grow, it wouldn't necessarily be consistent. Because again, this is still, dirt and gravel and stones and bigger stones and such. Like, grass wouldn't grow consistently in like the right spots. It'd be as if like it would just be like you have like a giant green looking quilt. Stay with me. And like because of the stones are heavy and the grass can't get through, you'd be like holes in that quilt, if that makes sense. Well, I am just not really painting that great of a picture, am I? It's usually weird. I'm pretty decent at painting a picture. Mentally, anyway. I mean, I can paint, I guess. I know how to, I know how to paint stuff. I can be artsy. Well, joking aside, I really do know, the importance of stuff like, being careful and, fine art and stuff. Honestly, the only reason why I don't bring that stuff up is because there's just not really much of a need to do that. I mean, I could. But, someone's driving by with really loud music. I hope I don't get copyrighted for that. Yeah, I'll be honest, I can't really make out what that song was. Pardon that. I mean, it's a song I've heard before, but for the life of me, I do not know the name. But it sounded really catchy, so that's always cool. That'd be a nice way to end this video, like songs that like I think are like kind of catchy, even though they're kind of on the old side, like Low Rider. Low Rider. I like that song. You hear that song a lot if you watch the old George Lopez sitcom. That was a good sitcom, actually. I like George Lopez. He's cool. Like, yeah, he was. Although, honestly, I think they could have... I mean, here's the thing. Like, even though it isn't, by all accounts, a sitcom, it did tackle some pretty serious issues. And there were jokes that, like, not fall flat, but they were kind of running jokes that weren't as funny as others. And one of them is the fact that George Lopez has a big head. I just didn't really find that scene particularly, I never really found those jokes particularly funny. Just simply because, like, I mean, ooh, he's got a big head. Hilarity. Like, I mean, I guess they could do the whole concept of, like, a big head, but not a lot of brains inside, I suppose. But that's really about the only joke I can think of. I mean, they tried to make it work, but it just didn't really work for me. That's okay. George Lopez is funny in other ways. That was actually a really good cast, too. Not to mention, back then, actually, by all accounts, Constance Marie is still beautiful. But man, she was hot back then. I'm not going to lie. Not enough for me to legit have a crush on her, but, I can acknowledge when someone's beautiful. Sure. I'll acknowledge if a man is handsome. I'll acknowledge if a woman is beautiful. Or if they happen, if a woman wants to be called handsome, or if a man wants to be called beautiful, I'll do that too. If they want that is. I mean, you don't want to accidentally call a man beautiful and then they feel really awkward about that. That wouldn't be very fun. Ah, boy. Well, as for me, I have a few big plans today. My cousin is visiting from Florida, so tonight we're going to go out for dinner. That's going to be nice. And then tomorrow evening, my brother is actually having a miniature Mother's Day celebration. Because here's the thing. By all accounts, my nephews are all a bit too, I mean, they're old enough to go to church, but they're too young to really do anything fancy like go to brunch or anything. So they're going to do something small tomorrow afternoon. And that's fine with me. I'll certainly, take part because any excuse I have to see my nephews is always greatly appreciated. As well as the fact that, it's going to be my grandmother and most likely my grandfather too. I think my sister-in-law's mother will also be there. It's going to be some sort of celebration. Although, admittedly, I'm not necessarily expecting much in the realm of, well, here's the thing. I am expecting good food, but knowing my brother, because whenever he throws these parties, he usually gets like a sheet pizza from Pudgy's and like a couple dozen wings, which, it's Pudgy's. Pudgy's has always been really good in this area. There's a reason why they have multiple locations everywhere. There's a location in Corning, there's one in Horseheads, there's literally two in Elmira. I literally live up the street from a Pudgy's. That's how good it is. There's one in Bath. There's one, actually I think I just named all the locations. Oh, I think there may be one in Sayre, Pennsylvania too. But yeah, Pudgy's is everywhere, and it's awesome. Like, favorite, share, the subscribe button, follow me, social media, YouTube. I am very humble in this video for all of you guys watching your favorite video. Wonderful, wonderful Friday. Remember, you want to talk to me, also back. Take care and make good choices. Happy Friday.